This is Steel of War, a documented record of the machines that defined global conflict between 1939 and 1945. Between 1940 and 1943, the Regia Aeronautica operated across the Mediterranean, North Africa, Eastern Europe, and the Italian mainland. Italian aircraft reflected a mix of advanced aerodynamic design and industrial limitations. What follows is a complete archival account of combat aircraft that saw operational service during the Second World War. Fighter aircraft. Fiat CR-32. Originally designed in the 1930s, the Fiat CR-32 was a single-seat biplane fighter. Though considered obsolete by 1940 standards, it remained in limited service early in the war. Powered by a Fiat A30RA engine and armed with two 12.7mm Breda SAFAT machine guns, it was used primarily in secondary roles and colonial theaters. Fiat CR-42, Falco. The CR-42 was the final Italian biplane fighter placed into mass production. It featured improved maneuverability and a radial engine configuration. Despite outdated design characteristics, it operated in North Africa and even during the Battle of Britain in limited numbers. Fiat G50, Freccia. The Fiat G50 was Italy's first operational all-metal monoplane fighter. Entering service in 1938, it featured retractable landing gear and an enclosed cockpit in later variants. Armed with dual machine guns, it served in North Africa and the Mediterranean. Macchi C-200, Saetta. The Macchi C-200 was a low-wing monoplane fighter powered by a radial engine. Known for structural durability and maneuverability, it operated extensively in North Africa and on the Eastern Front. Macchi C-200-2, Folgore. The C-202 introduced the German-built Daimler-Benz DB601 inline engine under license. This significantly improved speed and high-altitude performance. It became one of Italy's most effective mid-war fighters. Macchi C-200-5, Veltro. An evolution of the C-202, the C-205 used the more powerful DB605 engine. It entered service in 1943 and saw combat defending Italian airspace against Allied bombing raids. Fiat G55, Centauro. The Fiat G55 was a late-war fighter featuring improved armament and performance. Equipped with a DB605 engine, it was considered one of Italy's most capable aircraft in 1943 to 1945 operations. Reggiane RE-2000, Falco 1. The RE-2000 was a single-seat fighter with radial engine configuration. Though not widely adopted by Italy, it served in limited numbers and was exported to other Axis-aligned nations. Reggiane RE-2001, Falco 2. An improved variant, powered by a DB601 engine, the RE-2001 featured better performance and saw use in fighter-bomber and interception roles. Reggiane RE-2002, Ariete. The RE-2002 was optimized for ground attack missions. It participated in operations against Allied landings in Sicily. Reggiane RE-2005, Sagittario. The RE-2005 was a high-performance late-war fighter with advanced aerodynamics and heavy armament. It saw limited operational use in 1943 during homeland defense missions. You are listening to Steel of War. Subscribe for continued access to documented military history. Bomber aircraft. Savoia-Marchetti, SM-79, Sparviero. The SM-79 was Italy's primary medium bomber. Recognizable by its three-engine configuration, it operated extensively in North Africa and the Mediterranean. It was particularly effective in torpedo bomber missions against Allied shipping. Savoia-Marchetti, SM-81, Pipistrello. The SM-81 was a tri-motor bomber and transport aircraft. Though outdated by 1940 standards, it served in secondary bombing and logistical roles. Savoia-Marchetti, SM-82, Marsupiali. Designed as a heavy transport aircraft, the SM-82 was also adapted for bombing missions. It operated in long-range logistical supply and special operations. Savoia-Marchetti, SM-84. The SM-84 was intended as a successor to the SM-79. However, operational limitations restricted its widespread effectiveness. Cant, Z-1007, Alcione. The Z-1007 was a three-engine medium bomber known for relatively good high-altitude performance. It served in the Mediterranean theater and Eastern Front operations. Cant, Z-506, Aeron. The Z-506 was a floatplane used for maritime reconnaissance and air-sea rescue missions. It operated extensively over Mediterranean waters. Piaggio, P-108. The P-108 was Italy's only four-engine heavy bomber used operationally during the war. It conducted limited long-range bombing missions against Gibraltar and Allied targets. Ground attack and reconnaissance aircraft. Breda BA-65. The BA-65 was a single-engine ground attack aircraft used primarily in North Africa. Armed with machine guns and light bombs, it fulfilled close support roles. Breda BA-88, Linz. Designed as a twin-engine attack aircraft, the BA-88 suffered from performance deficiencies in operational environments and saw limited effectiveness.
Caproni CA-133. The CA-133 was used in colonial theaters as a transport and light bomber. It remained in service in East Africa during early war campaigns. Caproni CA-135. The CA-135 was a twin-engine bomber deployed in limited numbers. Operational reliability challenges limited its effectiveness. Caproni CA-310 Libeccio. The CA-310 was used in reconnaissance and light bombing roles, particularly in North Africa. Caproni CA-311. An improved reconnaissance variant, the CA-311 featured enhanced glazing for observation missions. Caproni CA-313. The CA-313 served in reconnaissance and light attack capacities, including deployment to the Eastern Front. Caproni CA-314. The CA-314 was used for anti-submarine and convoy escort operations in the Mediterranean. IMAM RO-37. The RO-37 was a biplane reconnaissance aircraft that remained in service during early World War II operations, particularly in colonial territories. IMAM RO-43. The RO-43 was a floatplane reconnaissance aircraft launched from Italian naval vessels for maritime observation. This concludes the documented record of Italian combat aircraft operational during World War II. These machines reflect the industrial capacity, strategic priorities, and technological development of the Regia Aeronautica between 1939 and 1945. You are listening to Steel of War. Subscribe for continued access to documented military history.